Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to the latest edition of RE340, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Ignore the Tourists, written by Darren and Dala. Mark, you see that, right? Mark tossed his cigarette butt into the fire, rubbed the sore muscles in his neck, and raised a brow at Emily. See what? Behind the trees there. Emily glanced doubtfully at the cigarette in her own hand. This is just tobacco, right? Oh yeah, them. Pretend you don't see them. They think they're being stealthy. Pretend I don't see the giant alien spaceship, she hissed. It's right there, and transparent, and I can see the trees behind it. It's some new movie special effect. Are people shooting some sci-fi adventure, aren't you? No, love. Just the Braxians. Sorry, I keep forgetting this is your first time out here. Braxians? That's what Bobby calls them. Named them that because he was 5. I don't know what they call each other. We don't exactly get a chance to talk. If they think that you've seen too much, they'll zap you with a brain thing. Mark put 2 fingers to the center of his forehead, indicating a gun, and mimed being zapped with an alien brain thing. It makes you forget the past 3 hours or so, and you wake up later with a monster headache. They think that we can't see them, just go with it. Emily tried hard to ignore the partly visible, frog-footed blob creature hopping around just behind the tree line. They were crushing twigs, stumbling over rocks, and talking to each other in what they clearly thought was an inaudible whisper. Even in the darkening evening light, they weren't hard to spot. They looked to be made out of faintly reddish glass, but moved as smoothly as you'd expect a frog blob with a lot of tentacles to move. No, they looked like somebody was shining a reddish light on something, and then had just deleted the thing that it was shining on from existence. Like something someone with way too much money and a fancy new video camera would have come up with in the 80s. Why are they all red? She asked Mark in a low voice. It's their invisibility tech, Mark said with a weary affection. They think that we can't see them. They don't seem to know that humans can see red. And don't worry, they don't speak English. He took 2 beers from the esky at his feet and handed one to Emily. They're out here, I don't know, about once a month when we come out. I don't know if they're here when we don't. Bobby's 7, Emily said, frowning. Weird invisible aliens have been coming out to your camp spot for 2 years and mind-wiping you and your son. Does the government know about this? Mark shrugged. They've never done anything about it. Have you told them? And risked getting the little guys hurt? Nah. Why are they here? What do they want? They're not building some kind of weapons base or research lab or something, are they? That's what we worried about at first, too. It took about 6 months to investigate. What with their memory-wiping tech putting us back every time they found us. But no, I can definitely tell you, they're not here for science, or war, or to take all of our food or metal or nothing. Then why? Emily hissed, careful to not react to the low-volume chittering behind her. Mark took a draught of his beer. Behind him, the Braxton fell out of the tree and froze, waiting to see if it had been heard. Mark ignored it. So far as I can tell, he said, they just think humans are really cute. It was surprisingly easy to get used to the Braxians. After that first night, they were a little more stealthy. Mark had explained that they had probably just been really excited to see a new human, but not quite stealthy enough to hide their presence. It took a little practice for Emily to get used to letting her gaze slide right over an alien standing, frozen against the tree line, trying not to make a sound. But she didn't suffer any missing time or splitting headaches, so Emily supposed that she must be doing okay. They watched with fascination while she cooked the morning eggs over the campfire, chittering excitingly to themselves when Mark helped her treat the burn on her wrist that she'd gotten from the pan, and sat patiently for hours while the pair went fishing on the little isolated beach that tourists and holidaymakers hardly ever found. Emily had always liked fishing with Mark. He was relaxed and gentle at the best of times, but even more so with a line in the water. Emily was a skilled and knowledgeable fisherwoman, and always made a point of going fishing with any man she was thinking of getting serious about to see how he dealt with this. Most of them got weirdly defensive and set out to prove how much more they knew than her, even if they'd never picked up a rod before. She stopped seeing people like that immediately. Some shared her hobby with her, or politely waited out their first trip and then confessed it wasn't for them, and they'd just stay home when she went out. They were usually worth a shot. The first time she'd gone with Mark, he had immediately sat back once his line was in the water and started trading life stories with her. She happened to mention offhand in the middle of the conversation that she needed a new hat. Before the conversation moved on to more interesting things, the next day he went out and bought her one. That was the moment that she had decided to stay in Australia. The Braxians seemed to find fishing fascinating. They pointed dangerous-looking devices that Mark had assured her were probably cameras, I reckon, at the pair while they tied and baited their hooks, and a couple had audibly gasped when they cast their lines. For the next half an hour, while the pair relaxed and chatted and watched the floats, the Braxians watched and talked amongst themselves. It was easier than Emily had thought that it would be to read the emotions of the tentacled alien blob frog. They were clearly puzzled about what exactly was going on. When Mark's float jerked and he pulled in their first fish of the day, the Braxians got so excited that Emily became worried they'd realize how audible they were. Cameras went off again, and again, excited chatter hummed along the tree line, and Emily was pretty sure that she saw a particularly smug Braxian accepting some kind of round beads off the frustrated-looking one. A few fish later, they went back to camp and cooked them up for dinner, and the Braxians were as interested in this as they had been in breakfast. "They find fire exciting," Mark explained. "Watch them once every time they think that we're leaning too close. It's adorable. They're constantly worried that we're about to hurt ourselves." "I did burn myself this morning," Emily pointed out. "You should have seen them get worked up when I cut myself with the kitchen knife. I think they thought I was going to die." He tossed the last fish fillet into the pan and pushed it over the fire. The Braxians as one shrank back slightly. "I wish they'd just come out and interact with us," Emily mumbled. "It'd be less weird." "We've tried. Bobby tried for months before he decided he'd had enough memory-wiping headaches. He's got a notebook where he'd write down his strategies before giving them a go. If you're interested." "How is he?" "Good. Grades are better this year. He's really settling in." Mark poked at the fish with a stick. "He really likes you, you know." "He's a good kid. Do we have tea?" "Yeah. Tin's in the truck." Emily went to fetch the tea, careful to take her time opening the door so the Braxian going through their things had time to hide. After lunch, the pair went for a walk. Mark showed her how to find different plants and animals in the bush, and she showed him how to make a pit oven. When they got back, in case they had to cause to cook any of those animals, they'd headed back to the beach after dinner to fish in the sunset. Emily always had good luck fishing in the sunset. But Mark didn't lead her down to the little fishing beach. Instead, he led her up a path through the trees that went in vaguely the same direction. The path ended not at the sand, but the lip of a large limestone cliff overlooking the ocean. The water was stained deep purple and wine-red in sunset. Emily wondered how the Braxians thought the sunset looked to humans. She wondered how it looked to the Braxians. None of the Braxians were paying attention to the scene, though. They had eyes only for Mark and Emily. "I wanted to bring you out here for a reason," Mark said. "To show me the aliens who stalk you?" Emily asked, raising an eyebrow. "No, I mean, yeah, them too. You'd have to know about those before we..." Mark rubbed his neck. "I'm no good at this. I want you to be a part of every part of my world. I want to be a part of yours. For our worlds to be one and the same. Emily, I've never been happier than I have since I started sharing my life with you. I want to do that forever. Officially." Emily frowned. "Officially? I'm backing this up, aren't I? I mean, Emily. Will you marry me?" Mark sank stiffly to one knee, putting a small box from his pocket and opening it to exhibit a simple gold band. Emily looked out over the red waves, then back at the man in front of her. She pointedly avoided looking at the suddenly completely silent Braxians. "Have you told Bobby?" "Of course, last week. He really wants you in the family, too. I'd like that a lot." "Is that a..." "It's yes, you old idiot." Emily closed a hand over the ring box for safety and used her other arm to pull Mark to his feet. She pulled his face down to hers. Around her, the world burbled in confused but excited voices as the Braxians tried to make sense of what was going on. Alien cameras clicked over and over as they caught their first ever footage of a human kiss from multiple angles. Emily broke the kiss and whispered, "We're getting Bobby a puppy." "A puppy? Do we have room?" "We'll make room, and we'll take it out here on weekends. A 7-year-old interacting with a little puppy. These Braxians are going to lose their goddamn minds." End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.